Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hidden Agenda. With us tonight, we got Tracey Grisham. He is a lead investigator in the Sheriff's Department and is actually going to be running for Henderson County Sheriff. This will be our first of the interviews for the candidates in the county election. Like I said, what we were doing is starting off with Sheriff and Mayors. Tune in Thursday. We'll have Blake Mitchell up here he'll be the first candidate that's going to come on for the mayor's race. Anyway, we're going to get started on some questions first, and then we'll see if we got any comments pop up there. Bear with me because I'm going to focus on the questions before we focus on anything else, and then we'll bounce in and check, see what kind of questions we got on Facebook. If you got anything, just pop them up in the comments. And that's pretty much where we are right this moment. Give me just 1 second here. I'm going to open up the video on my phone so I got it. And of course, it's going to be a little bit late starting as usual. And that's Facebook for you. Anyway, let me jump on in here to the questions. Alrighty, Tracey, you ready to get in some answers on these things?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, the first one, I'm sure we've heard a little bit here recently. Will you uphold animal cruelty and neglect laws, and will you hold offenders accountable?
Yes, sir, I will. We have had one really good officer. I will not call names, but we've got one really good officer that's good at that. She filed 13 counts of animal cruelty just 3 months ago.
Yeah, November, December timeframe, yeah.
December.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'm going to give a shout out to that officer.
You can.
All right, that's Deputy Bethany Parker. I worked with Bethany on that, and I'm going to tell you right now, she went above and beyond the call of duty. I mean, really above and beyond the call of duty to help to make sure that those dogs were taken care of. So, kudos to Deputy Parker. Thank you for what you did there. You saved some lives, and it's greatly appreciated. And hopefully, we've established some kind of community link to help the Sheriff's Department out with that in the future. I'll go into the next question, unless you have anything else you want to go in and elaborate on that there.
Not yet.
All right. Where will animals impacted by laws be taken, such as a shelter, and where will we get the funds for their care?
Okay, on that, the shelter itself does not fall in the scope of the Sheriff's Office. Animal control would be its own entity, and it has to be funded through the general fund funneled through the county commission. It is not under the scope of the Sheriff's Office.
Gotcha. And that's and I'm glad you mentioned that there. It kind of, we have to understand that each department, this operates a little bit different than the city does. Each department has their own leader. We'll say,
Yes.
The sheriff is a leader. The sheriff does not answer to the mayor. The sheriff does not answer to the commission. He runs his own department. The one thing he has to have from the commission, obviously, is funding.
Correct.
But that's kind of how that goes, so everybody understands that somewhat. All right. Will you be available to the citizens you serve?
Yes, sir, I will be available. I was actually told not to come on this show by some. I was told to come on this podcast by some. And I don't push my faith on anybody. I hold a strong faith, but I will not push it on others. And after I thought about it and prayed about it, I'm running for sheriff of Henderson County. All of it.
Right.
Not just my 4, no more. And this is a good way to reach a lot of people at one time.
Amen for your faith, brother. Amen. And you're right. This is a good way to get out there because not just tonight. We'll have people watching tomorrow morning. We'll see our numbers spike up because people get up, have coffee, and they're going, well, I want to hear what Tracey had to say. All righty. Next question came up. Will you be open to public criticism and will you respond to critics?
I get criticized on a regular basis.
I'm when I saw the question, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ask the question because I get it. No, I'm in the same boat you are. I get criticized quite often.
I respond to my critics to a point, but there's always a point where it has to stop. You don't keep beating a dead horse.
Right.
Give them a response, and everybody's not going to like you. Been one perfect person in the whole history of the world, and
That's it.
everybody didn't like him.
Another amen on that one. I mean, that's true. And you know, and I get it. I mean, I get the criticism and responding to it. Will you uphold constitutionally protected citizens' rights?
But yes, I swear to do that.
It's an oath you take.
Yes.
I think most of us take that oath when we're in some kind of service. So yeah, that helps. And you know, and I think trying to remember back on this conversation here, there's, I think there's been some questions about civil rights. I know under the current administration there was, I actually personally witnessed one. Nick Mock at a school board meeting was escorted out by deputies in violation of his rights. Nick didn't follow anything through with it. And I know, I think this was probably back September, October, there was Blake Mitchell was escorted out of a meeting at a court, after the meeting was actually over at a courthouse. And those are violations of civil rights, and I think that's where the people are asking the questions about it, just to give you some clarity on it. All right, what are your thoughts on flock cameras? And this goes back into the same conversation on the civil rights that people were bringing up.
Flock cameras are a very valuable tool. Very valuable. I've seen cases from other agencies that have them, including Lexington PD. Solve cases off flock cameras. It locates. You can flag if it's a stolen car. When it comes by the flock camera, it flags the system and then know where it's at.
Let me ask you, you're talking about LPD. I know sometime late last year, there was an arrest made. I think they stopped a guy right here in front of Dodge store. I believe he was from Texas. Do you remember that?
If I'm familiar with that.
I'm just wondering if that would have been one that was where flock cameras that may have caught the guy. I tell you, there would have. Well, I think somebody told me the story about Ray Caruth. He was a Carolina Panthers football player. Murdered his girlfriend. I think she was pregnant at the time, and they found him at the America's Best Inn.
Right.
And
I was thinking Knights Inn, but yes,
yeah.
It was one of them at the crossroads.
Hiding in the trunk of a Cadillac or something.
I didn't work that, but I remember when it happened.
That's crazy. The flock cameras probably would have led to that arrest as well.
Yeah.
All righty. Let's get into the next one here. Are you aware of all available revenue sources available to the Sheriff's Department?
I don't know if anybody in this world is aware of all available resources. But yes, I'm aware of a lot of resources.
And I think there's a lot of grants out there, especially federal and state, that could actually help us out some. Will you be transparent in regards to your department and how we share information with the citizens?
I've always been as transparent as I could anywhere I've worked. How would I relay that to citizens? Was that the rest of that?
Yeah.
I would love to see our Facebook page through the Sheriff's Office a little more active. Right now, I do not have time to do the department Facebook page right now. I would like to be more active if I was elected. And I can see me doing a weekly video post.
I think that would be a wonderful thing. And you know, and Facebook is just one tool that's out there. Not everybody's got Facebook.
Right.
And that's kind of like, you know, and if you win, if you got any questions about it, I'll be more than happy to help you out.
Right.
You could do a quick video here, and then you can take that link and share it to YouTube and create your YouTube channel, and people can go in there and watch it. You know,
right?
Because most people are on the internet, especially now that we've got a LexNet and broadband throughout the county. You know, so that some of the older crowd actually can make use of the YouTube channel with it as well. Got you there. All right, where do you place cleaning up the drugs in the county on your priority list?
It's going to be up at the top, very high. Cleaning it up. We work, we arrest, they go to prison, they come back, and this is probably going to bleed over to something that's coming up later. I know.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
We arrest again, they go to prison, they come back, we arrest again, and it seems like we're almost trying to hold the ocean back with a broom.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to see it enhanced. Right now, we have a narcotics agent that works through the undercover method. The trouble with that is, if he's doing his job correctly, nobody ever knows he's there.
Right. Right.
Until the indictments come in. I would like to see 2 of those. Would I like to see a drug interdiction agent? Yes. But right now, we're short-staffed as it is. And we would have to take an officer completely off of answering calls, put on the interstate, and make us even more short-handed. But would I love to see it? Yeah, I'd love to see it.
Gotcha. You know, and the reality of it is, you ain't never gonna stop all the drugs.
I didn't want to say it.
Well, I mean, I'll say it. I mean, that's just the reality of it is, you know, and I'm an optimist, but
Right.
I mean, the reality is you can't stop it all. There's no way possible, you know, and I guess, you know, well, I'm probably pissing people off, but I'm going to say it. I wouldn't want you out there worrying about a nickel and dime user smoking pot. If somebody's out here pushing meth, fentanyl, cocaine, whatever drugs that we got in this county, that's where I'd kind of like to see my taxpayer resources going to. Getting the big fish out of the ocean.
I understand.
The small ones, I mean, yeah, I can't see. I kind of look at this here as the sheriff's department is only one cog on this wheel. You guys can arrest, but you can't prosecute. And then you're going to have to rely on the legal system to take it the rest of the way. And if we're giving slaps on the wrist to, you know, to, like I said, nickel and dime misdemeanors, it's resources could be better to me utilized and trying to find a bigger cache of drugs.
Yes.
Something that's going to hurt somebody else.
Right.
You know, if somebody is taking it upon themselves to smoke weed, you know, now if they're over here burning up meth and driving up and down the roads and going crazy and stuff, yeah, and they're smoking pot, I don't know if it, you hear so many different things, but there's got to be some logic in the application.
Right. And I don't know if there may be somebody that don't understand the undercover operations. We're actually buying undercover from dealers,
Right.
the people that are selling it within Henderson County.
Then let me ask you, and this is something that's not on here, but it's a conversation I was having earlier today. You're buying drugs, so I'm assuming y'all are probably using money out of the drug fund, which has already seized money, to go back and purchase more. Is that how that works?
At the moment, no. Normally,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
Our guy is deputized with the TBI.
Okay.
The TBI is
It's
putting
applying the
money
funds.
on.
Okay. Well, that's actually even better then.
Yes.
That's that's a lot better, because. But historically, if there was a situation where you needed money to buy drugs, you would use money out of the drug fund for it, or
That's
are
where
you
it comes
allowed
from.
to do it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
We would transfer it from drug fund to something called a confidential fund,
Mhm.
and that one is monitored closely.
Right. And then I'm sure that money
Closely.
eventually gets put back into the drug fund after
Eventually,
it's
yes.
recouped. Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha. And then that takes more drugs off the street.
Yes.
So you're using their own money to buy
Yes.
and take more drugs off the street.
I remember in the old days we would have cars that we'd seized,
Yeah.
turn them into police cars, and put big letters and decals on the back said paid for by your local drug dealer.
Why don't we go back to that?
I think they kind of frowned upon that at one point or another.
Stuffy people.
Hey, things have changed since I started this
Well-
job in 1996.
Yeah, I know law enforcement gets hamstrung on a lot of stuff, and the laws are ever changing. That's something, you know. I don't know if any questions up here, but we'll probably end up talking about that in our free conversation a little bit here. All right, will you put more patrols in the county?
Okay, more patrols in the county. I'd love to see it. Right now, we're short-staffed right now. We have a turnover problem. There's more than one reason for it, but something has to fix it. We're losing right at half of our patrol division every year for the last 4 years. Patrol division is 18 officers. we're losing 8 on average. That's right at half. 44%, I think, is what I figured it out.
18 patrol officers. How many miles in the county?
And that's for full staff.
It's about 700.
It's 6 and change, closer to 7 than 6.
That's kind of got me thinking in comparison to the city. How many officers they got, patrol officers they got in the city? It's like 16. And y'all are covering, wow, that's insane. And y'all are short staffed too.
Yes, sir.
All righty.
Well, that shortage, losing 8 every year on average. I think it was starting 4 years ago. I believe it was 9, 9, 8, and 6.
Man.
But it causes our training officers, you know what they're doing all the time?
Yeah,
Training new
okay.
officers.
Yeah, and then you got to put them back through the academy, and you got to spend money every time they go through the academy. I thought Brian was putting something out there, some kind of contract to get a certain amount of return on investment by requiring X amount of time of service.
There is, but the academy became free. And I can't tell you the exact number of years ago.
Okay.
3. And at my age, the years roll by. It could have been 4, but I think it's 3 years ago. Became free. We still have to pay their salary while they're there.
But still, I mean, that
But
should
the
still
tuition's
require, right.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, the military does it. It required us to have a contract, a certain amount of time. Hell, they owned us. Told you straight up, boot camp, they owned you. All right, well, that's interesting news I was not aware of. Will you allow your deputies to write tickets to county residents?
This is going to be a tricky question. I will not disallow it. I'm not going to just beat them over the head and say, go write tickets, but I'm not going to tell them you can't. But yes, I would allow it.
Okay. So in other words, if they see somebody speeding, then if they justify that they need to pull them over, you're leaving it to the discretion of the patrolman.
Yes.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, at least they have the discretion to know, hey, I can uphold the law or not.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. What experience do you have with budgets?
With budgets?
Yep.
All right. It was a small town, but it still had a budget. I was chief of police for 4 years. I had to develop a budget from scratch. Uniforms, equipment, salary, vehicles, maintenance, fuel, training supplies, office supplies. So I had to develop it, had to submit it to the alderman, and once I got it approved, I had to operate within that budget. After
So
that,
pretty much the same thing as the way the budget is here in the county. It's just a
Yes.
smaller dollar amount.
yes. But on the other hand, I started my career here in Henderson County. I did leave for 10 years and worked in the Hardin County Sheriff's Office and then Chief of Police at Crump, Tennessee.
Okay.
While I was gone for those 10 years, I was a county commissioner. So I know what the budget deal is on the other side as well.
Right. Yeah. That's
And I understand our commissioners. If the money's not there, they can't give it out.
right. Right. Unless they raise taxes somewhere, they have to raise some kind of
That's
tax
the
to get
only
more money.
way, and
And that's
who wants a tax increase?
Yeah, I mean that's the truth of it. What experience do you have dealing with the court systems? Like I said, these are some general questions. I'm sure in your capacity you deal with the court systems quite often, being a lead investigator.
Yes, sir. Early in my career, we didn't have bailiffs that were just full-time bailiffs. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
We do now.
Okay.
But early in my career, we didn't. You know what we did if you worked day shift and there was court going on?
So
You were the bailiff. So I've served as bailiff, and I'm also certified to teach court security that certifies a bailiff to work in that position.
Okay. I didn't know that there. I didn't know they used to not have. Now, if you were called to court for that day that you're being a bailiff, could you still be a witness while you're being a bailiff?
You know, that was back 29 years ago.
I get it. I have trouble remembering what happened yesterday. All
I
right.
think we would have more than one officer there, and if that were to happen, I believe we swapped out the best I remember, because that's been a while.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. All right, the next question here it was asked is, what experience do you have with correctional facilities? So bottom line is, what experience you got with the jail?
Okay. Worked for a sheriff's office for 25 out of my 29 years, so I've been in and around the jail in the early parts, both here and Hardin County Sheriff's Office. 2 COs on duty at a time. If they needed a break, to go to the restroom. If something was going on they had to handle in the back, who did they call on?
Deputies come fill the role.
Yes, so I filled that role that way. I've taught their in-service, doing the internal investigations for the past, since 2011, was that
Inside the jail
14, 15
itself,
years?
yeah.
Yes. I've had to learn their policies. I've had to learn their rules. I've been to jail administrator school in 2022. Do I have all the TCI standards memorized? No, but I have a book that I know how to find them within 5 minutes.
Yeah, right. And I get that. I totally understand that. All righty. What is the maximum number of personnel you have ever been in charge of? And it don't have to be perfect.
30? That's a guess.
About how many people we got in the sheriff's department, excluding the jail?
Okay, at full staff, 43.
Okay. How many we got in the jail?
About the same number.
Okay. All right.
Close to the same.
Now, that helps me some. I didn't know that. I wasn't sure how many numbers we had, and I knew we had to have quite a few on the
No, that's
the
at
jail
full
side.
staff. Do we
Right.
have that right now? No.
The jail's not fully staffed either.
Unless they got fully staffed in the last week. No.
Okay. All righty. What changes, improvements would you make to the sheriff's department? And if any of these changes require funds, how would you acquire those funds?
Well, even at short staffing and the turnover rate. And you mentioned grants earlier, and the question was, do you know all avenues of revenue? No, I don't know all of them. But I know a grant that worked for me at Crump. I know a grant that LPD uses and it works for them. I know a grant that several counties around here use and it works for them. It's through the THSO, Tennessee Highway Safety Office. And it is geared toward highway safety. But what it does, that officer comes in, puts another officer on the road, right?
Right.
Working under this grant at zero cost to the taxpayers.
That's a good thing. That's a mighty good thing. And that's money that can be used to put more people in the seats.
And it puts more money in our officers' pockets if they choose to participate.
Oh. All right, and I'm stepping away here from this for just a second here, because is the state still funding our SROs?
Right now, yes.
Are they going to continue to do so? Or is
That is the magic question.
because that's one thing that I'm wondering, because I'm thinking that salary's got to be somewhere in what, $600,000-$700,000 range to fund SROs.
Close. You're right on the money.
Let me see here, 68. That's about a 10-cent property tax increase. That would have to be a permanent increase to raise revenue if the state was to cut those funds off.
Now,
And we can't take that money away because that comes under maintenance of effort.
Correct. I will say this. Every certified police officer that attends 40 hours of in-service training annually that's required and works 8 months out of the year, which is required to receive the supplement, receives a salary supplement from the state for attending in-service.
Okay.
I don't foresee the SRO grant going anywhere soon because the SROs have been getting that salary supplement, and later on in the year they receive an additional salary supplement from the state. Nothing from the county, purely from the state.
Yeah, as long as they're keeping it in there, I think that would be the one thing that would concern me some is if that grant goes away. That's a lot.
I
of money.
haven't heard of anything that
I haven't
makes
either.
me
But
believe
that's
it's going, but I know where you're coming from. It's always in the back of your mind.
Yeah, and you know the state can do whatever they want to do, and never know what the legislature's going to do. I mean, It's whatever they decide to get in. All right, the next question, I'm going to actually allow you to read this question. I'll read it out loud so people know what it is.
Good.
You got to let readers
They're right over there.
grab your glasses in because you might reading it, you might understand it, or you might just when I say it, you might just know what it is. This was more of a technical question,
All right.
this specific, so you may have to read it just to understand it better. If elected sheriff, would your emergency services coordinator for Emergency Support Function 13 be available for multi-jurisdictional coordination during a large-scale event in Henderson County?
I am not even aware that we have at the sheriff's office an ECS.
Okay,
We have an emergency management.
right. That would fall under the EMA director.
Yes. Those two titles are very closely similar.
All right.
I'm thinking that falls under the EMA.
Okay.
Would I be willing to send people, send the troops,
Right.
if the EMA director needs us? Yes.
Right.
No doubt.
Got you. All right. All right. Yeah, because when I see what you're saying. Since you don't have an ESC, I mean it's and I get it. I mean, you don't need to have a bunch of different chiefs.
Right.
You need to have one person, and then every department kind of fall under that person, and
Yes.
that would be the EMA director. I get it. All right, good answer. Because I wasn't quite sure about that one there. All righty. Couple more questions we got here. There has been quite a bit of discussion about candidates bringing in their own chief deputy. Have you chosen a chief deputy, and if have you chosen who will be your chief deputy if elected sheriff? And you know what? You are employed by the sheriff's department, so you can take the fifth on this one here.
No, I'll answer.
Okay.
When I was in new sheriff school, and if this offends anybody, I'm repeating what was said in class. We were told when you pick your chief deputy, you pick someone you would trust along with your wife overnight.
Well,
That's
slim
a short
pickings.
list, isn't it?
That's a slim pickings there, boy. Shoot.
But you have to trust them.
Right.
Now, on the other hand, this is not taking the fifth, but it almost is. It is against TCA for a candidate to promise anyone a position prior to being elected.
That's a damn good answer. Damn good answer. That's not the one I was expecting, but that's a damn good answer.
Expecting?
Honestly, I was expecting the name to be popped off here as who it's going to be. I mean, it's, because that's what we're hearing quite a bit. It's certain people are popping up, whatchamacallits, candidates already. All right, let's get to the last question I've gotten here, and this is the one I'm sure you've been waiting on. What are your thoughts on the reentry program, and will you continue to implement the program?
Something else that happened at New Sheriff School in 2022. This was a relatively new program when I went to New Sheriff School. Governor Lee actually came in and taught a segment.
Okay.
And he said, do I have anybody here from Henderson County? And I raised my hand. And he told that entire class of new sheriffs, Henderson County has a beautiful reentry program.
All righty.
Since then, it's done nothing but improve. And no matter how good something is, there's always room to improve.
Right.
I support it. I've seen it work. 87% down to 44%?
Right. Well, and that's something too. And of course, I bring everything. I like to be as transparent as possible as well. I've received some quite a few texts this morning. I think it was the 13th of February. There was a WBBJ report about it over the reentry program.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to February 3rd of last year, 2025, there was a WBBJ report on the reentry program. And when you look back a year ago, the exact same numbers were used again this year. Now, I reached out to Liana Whitelaw. She's the one of the daytime. She's the morning host on WBJ, one of the morning hosts. And I asked her, what about this year, because some of the questions I was being told was, this is a campaign thing. Somebody's using this here for election purposes. And she told me, I don't remember the gentleman's first name, Mr. Parker, one of the ones that's actually has gone through the reentry program. That the story was about the success that has been created by the reentry program, and he is a success story of the reentry program. And I kind of looked at that there, taking into consideration there. The one thing I did personally, I was kind of curious about is we've got numbers from 23 to 24. It went from 87 to 44. What about 25? Have we gone down more?
I do not have those numbers. I don't keep up with them. That's not in my wheelhouse right now. I run investigations.
Right. Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. I'm wondering. Could it have dropped to 32? Could it have gone up to 51? I think having those real numbers helps because, especially, I've got a friend of mine that's kind of a geek that tells me stuff, and he always talks about using data and having information available.
Right.
And I kind of look at a chart, like if we're sitting up here at 87, if we drop down to 44, and we've gone up here, let's say, to 51. Okay, what did we do from here to here to get down here? And then what we do from here to here, what changed from here to here that got us up there? Mm-hmm. Having data available, it helps us so we know how to make changes to, tell you what, the ultimate goal is 0.
Yes.
I would love to see that because
I'd love to see it.
Because the way I look at it, the jail would be a skeleton crew working at jail because there just wouldn't be a lot of offenders in there.
And I've often said, in law enforcement, you'll never be laid off because of lack of work.
Amen. Job security.
But I'm being honest. I don't know if it would upset me if I saw police officers getting laid off for lack of work.
Wouldn't bother me none at all. But
for lack of work.
For lack of work. Yeah. I ain't got a problem with that whatsoever. No whatsoever. All righty. That's all the questions that I had initially asked of me. Now there's posts up here, and I'm going to ask some of these questions that are up here. And I've got a text message. Let me see here. I got a message. No, that somebody sent me something else. Okay. First question we got here. With regards to managing the jail and inmates, are you going to improve and expand the education and work programs? I know for the longest time the work program was not available to women and also has been limited to a single employer.
There are TCI standards we have to go by. We cannot transport male, female together. I don't know the answer right now, but yes, I would. The females in that jail deserve somewhere to work and get credit.
Okay. And I agree with it. Let's see here. In your opinion, what's driving the high turnover rate? Leadership, pay, benefits?
We had some to retire.
Okay.
We had 14, 15-ish leave for other agencies for more money.
Right.
We've had a few leave for less money, but better benefits. We've had them leave the profession altogether.
Okay.
It's a combination of several things. But I read a book about a great leader one time that treated his people so well that they worked for this man for 2 months for no money. Do I think I can do that? No.
People got to live.
But it is possible because it happened. And that leader was Walt Disney.
I can see that. You know what I'm telling you? I talked to some deputies that we've got in the sheriff's department, and the ones who will talk to me, I'll say this here: they are passionate about what they do, And that there, you can't get from no training. You
Nope.
can't get from no academy, nowhere. People love, if they love what they do, it's the money is not the number one focus.
Right.
It's about having a great environment and the ability to do the job. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I do see here. Alrighty. How long does a new hire ride with an experienced officer before being on their own?
Again, hard to say. It depends on how fast they get into the academy.
Okay.
We have an FTO program of 16 weeks.
All right.
They will allow them to do the first phase, from what I gather, before going to the academy. First phase, they're really just shadowing and watching.
Right.
They can do that before the academy.
Okay.
When they come back, they finish out that 12 week
Okay.
that's left.
All right.
So if it takes a month to get into the academy, 1 month plus 16 weeks. Well, the academy time is 3 months. The academy time, 16 more weeks. If it takes them 3 months to get in, it's a little longer.
Right.
That's why it's
Gotcha.
hard to answer.
So it's based on what the academy's available.
When do I get them through the academy?
Gotcha. All righty. Here's the last one I've got in here. What's your opinion on the jail's COVID protocols instituted in 2020 and it's still in effect, to my knowledge, that prevent most family and friends from visiting inmates? And I'll finish up the question here because it's a little bit more involved here. While these policies were in place, the sheriff's department had Project Pat and his group coming to the jail to share the gospel, and the sheriff's department publicized this event. Why didn't the COVID protocols apply to them?
Okay, again, I supervise CID.
Okay, that's
I can't answer that question.
yeah, because I've actually been looking into some of this stuff here too, and I haven't been able to confirm that the COVID protocols, are still in place. I've done a little bit of some research today, and from what I understand is if I come to visit you in jail, you're in jail, I'm coming to visit you, we have a video conversation, and that's been that way since the jail was built.
Right.
And if I want to have a personal interaction with you face to face, I've got to get approval to do so. I guess probably from the lead jailer or supervisor to be able to have that happen. Is that how are you even aware of it?
At one point, it was a definite no.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, I don't know all the standards. I know where to find them.
Right.
I don't know all the policies, but I know where to find them. I can find them within minutes.
Okay. All right. Alrighty. Let me get down in here to. Okay. I'm just gonna read this here out. This is kind of. I'm gonna leave this up to you how you want to address it, if you even want to address it.
Okay.
Has he given everyone fair and equal treatment, and has he helped with all break-ins, or got mad at the victim because of what might have been said and refused to help them? I'm gonna
I'm
translate
a
this.
visual person. Can I read that, or does it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're more than welcome to read it right here. It seems like have you been fair and equal treatment? It almost, have you ever gotten mad at a victim is what it's kind of looking in the second part of this here.
I've never gotten what I call mad at a victim. Have I been disappointed, especially on domestics?
Yeah, I can see that.
And this goes way back in my career. We had the same victim tell me she failed every time we went, every weekend shift. Did I get mad at her? No. Was I disappointed she wouldn't tell us what
So you could do your job, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I can understand that disappointment in that. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, that's domestic violence is a bad thing, and that's one of the things that I think probably gets overlooked a lot in the sheriff's races.
And it's probably the number one call that we get if it's not animals.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that's tough. And you know, I'll tell you what, and it's tough on both sides because it's a he said she said thing. And you know, unless you got overwhelming physical evidence, you know.
Now, I've been to some. There was no question.
Yeah, yeah, and that's. Let me ask you now. Now, of course, I'm not a native Tennessean, but back home, if I file charges against you, let's say you steal my coveted Saints coffee mug.
No, there's no danger in that.
But if I file charges against you, and the state picks up those charges, guess what? I can't drop charges. The state's going to prosecute you. Now the state, I'm the victim here. You want me to tell you what our state does?
What's that?
You're a witness. You come to court.
Okay.
They kind of carry through with it. They make sure that it's taken through. So there's, you know, that ain't the way it is here, is it?
I'm not the judge. I do not run the court.
Gotcha.
We have great judges.
Gotcha.
All for it. A lot of times, especially in a misdemeanor, if the victim's happy, the judge is happy.
Right.
And I've told defense attorneys that when they come, would you be interested in a plea deal? I said, if the victim's happy, I'm happy.
Gotcha. All right. Don't mess with my Saints cup. All righty. Well, it looks like I've got another one that's popped up here. What about drugs and alcohol being sold to children? Now, I think I'm going to take and expand on this here a little bit, because this is some conversations I've actually had with some state representatives, and I think I know where this here is going. I'm sorry I missed that. I know there's been legislation that's been passed down. I don't think they've created any kind of penal definition to the fact of how this is going to be addressed. But these convenience stores selling this, whatever this synthetic stuff is,
Yes, sir.
but CBD and all that stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am a proponent of CBD. It saved my dog's life, and it actually helps my wife quite a bit. And so, and I had to learn about it because I didn't know nothing about it until about a year ago. I see that problem there. I always thought these products were to be sold in a controlled environment.
Supposed to be. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go back, and the question is, what about drugs and alcohol being sold to children? I don't think it's. I think that's where this conversation is kind of.
We have run, I'm going to call it a sting operation. We ran a sting operation a few years ago. A business was cited for selling alcohol to underage.
Okay.
And you know I'm not going to call a name.
Right. No, that's fine.
They were selling alcohol to underage the very next night. And unfortunately, in that aspect, citing them to court is about our only option.
Right.
And they were doing it the very next night. Do I like it? No.
But you are at the
That's
mercy of the courts there.
Yes,
for
and that's not on
prosecuting.
the judge. That's
Right.
the state legislature.
Right. So there needs to be. They need to be talking to their state legislatures
To get a stronger, penalty
for it.
available for our judges.
Gotcha. And I hope you heard that answer there. Because that was one of the things that last year when all this stuff was coming up about the CBD stuff. Like I said, we've got a lab, and bless her heart, she's old. She's got lab hips, and she's got in her back right hip. She's got cancer. And about a year ago, we thought we were going to have to put her down. A little over a year ago, and I called a friend of mine who does a lot of animal rescue and actually has a CBD. She manufactures it, and I called to ask, and we call them Scooby snacks. We got snacks that we give our lab. She was on the max dose of gabapentin that she could take, and she absolutely hated it. So we got her on the CBD treatment, and we still got her, and she's getting along fine. When we were in there getting the stuff, April, my wife's got being in the grooming business, scissoring and moving your hands constantly, carpal tunnel and arthritis, some kind of bad. While we were in there, they had this salve. And the girl told us, just put a little bit on and just rub it in. She rubbed it in, and she's walking around, and we're kind of talking about other things. And April comes back, she's like, my hands aren't hurting. So that helped her, and it was natural. I guess it's natural. I'm sure that some of the stuff is synthetic, but it's helping. For medicinal purposes, it's helped my wife and my dog, and I'm a proponent of it because of that. My question when I was talking with the state representatives was, why are we doing a blanket thing of getting rid of it? Why aren't we doing it more in a controlled environment where I know we've got CBD stores down the other end of town.
Right.
That, as far as I know, you got to have an ID. You got to be 21 to go in those places.
I know for a fact that one has it posted, nobody under 21.
So why on earth is it being sold in convenience stores? That's what I don't get.
I've been approached about that before too. They put out a permit that they had to buy, and it's very expensive.
Okay.
Very expensive.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that's still allowing it to be sold into these stores.
Yes.
It doesn't address the issue. That's a money grab from government to get money for a permit, and we're still allowing it to be accessible to our children.
I agree.
Yeah, I think.
Do children watch this? I don't want to give them any ideas.
You know what? Now, I'm sure we got some under 21 that watches it. So.
Let's just say we confiscated some CBD gummies,
Okay.
21 or over. It came through the mail.
Wow. Okay. And and I'm assuming that probably was an interstate shipment.
Yes.
So it's hard for you to take and arrest somebody that's sitting up in Timbuktu.
California, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're going to pick up the phone and call California and say, y'all need to make an arrest on this here because they shipped in here to an underage kid. And they're probably going to laugh at you. Well, California's more like getting that damn tax money.
At best, yes.
Yeah, they're more worried about getting that tax money up there. Alrighty, well that explains some of that there. All right, will you try to upgrade equipment for the sheriff's department like the PD has? After all, sheriff's department has a bigger range of patrol.
Yes, and you also get a grant for equipment through that THSO that I mentioned earlier.
Right.
They have cut down on what kind of equipment you can get. Used to, you could get just about anything you needed for a PD or a sheriff's office. They have, if it's made in China, you're not getting it.
All right, yeah, I get it. Now I want to ask you something too, and this is not on the questions because this looks like at this moment we got all the questions answered.
Okay.
That I've seen, and yeah, Tim, you know you can forget that there. I am not getting a Chicago Bears mug. Don't tell me you're a Bears fan. I might have to send you on out now.
Who's me? No.
You're a Titans fan?
Don't tell anybody.
Damn, we were battling with you guys for being at the bottom of the barrel, and we found some stride somewhere.
Who blows the first pick of the draft in the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, Tennessee win a game. We were down low for a while there, and then all of a sudden we started winning. It wasn't the first round pick, but our quarterback that we got he kind of showed out some. Anyway, getting back to this here. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I guess we got all the questions answered. So, and we're bordering close to an hour, so we're gonna we've got questions answered at this point. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna let you have the camera. I'm gonna step aside, enjoy my coffee out of my Saints mug, and let you talk to the citizens and tell them why you're running and ask for their votes and whatever else you want to do. Give your spiel, we'll say it that way.
All right.
So I'm going to allow you to have the floor.
I'm running for sheriff because I believe that Henderson County will benefit from my experience and the ideas I have to improve things, change things, if you want to call it change. I call it improve. No matter how good anything is, it can be improved. I've been doing this for 29 years. 22 years of that, I've been a supervisor. Yes, I left Henderson County Sheriff's Office and went to Hardin County, went to Crump PD, and I came back to Henderson County. And I made supervisor at each stop. I've been at the administrative level for the 4 years at Crump, and since 2011 to now, somewhere around 18 years total, isn't it? In the administrative level. I know how to develop a budget. I know how to manage it. I know how to operate within it. I know how to work with county commissioners because I've been a county commissioner. I know what is attainable when you ask for a budget and what is not realistic. I'm asking for your vote and support because I'm telling you, I will do everything, my utmost 110% for every citizen of Henderson County, not just my 4 and no more.
Alrighty, well, folks, we're going to wrap it up. As again, this is our first sheriff candidate to come on the podcast, and we'll see if anybody else calls and reaches out and wants to get on. Remember, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Blake Mitchell will be our first mayor's candidate to step up and share what he's got going on. We're going to close this here out tonight. Thank you, Tracey, for coming on. We certainly appreciate it. Appreciate you willing to talk to the people and let them know what's going on. Y'all have a wonderful night. We'll see you up here on Thursday.